Dear friends, we continue the class on Rebbe Nachman's Likutey Moharan. Thank Hashem, we've already done 33 lessons. We're on number 34, and we're moving along here. So it starts out, "V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim." You shall be to me a kingdom of priests. It says in Shemos 19:6. It is a general principle that rulership is in the hands of the tzaddik, the sage, to direct events as he wishes, as our sages of blessed memory said that tzaddik rules. It says in Shmuel, tzaddik Moshe. Who rules over me? The tzaddik, says in Moharan 16b. And the primary rulership that the tzaddik exercises the ability to illuminate the Jewish heart and to awaken it to the service of Hashem. Therefore, it is crucial that a person should be connected to the true tzaddikim, that he should speak with them about serving Hashem. From them he will receive power, illumination, and arousal towards Hashem until he truly returns to Him. Now, this is an amazing concept that Hashem created the world. Why? To share with us, the creatures, His glory. So why, if that's the case, if He wants to share, if that's the purpose of creation, then why wouldn't Hashem give power to the righteous, as we learn in Moharan? So Hashem is giving that power to the sage. Therefore, if you want to receive from that power, if you want life-changing results, someone to intervene for you, someone to protect you and to elevate you, then therefore you go to the masters who have the keys. Okay? So you go to the tzaddik, the sage. This is the meaning of Yosef is a ruler, as it says in Bereshis. Yosef, Joseph, the tzaddik, the sage, is the root of all the Jewish souls as a collective, and they are his branches that receive from him. Additionally, Yosef is associated with the Hebrew vowel lafim, because the tzaddik guards his sexual purity as is fitting, and purity serves as a chariot for the sphere of Yesod. Yesod is foundation. The form of the Targum nation identified with Yesod is vocalized as Melafum, which has the same letters as Malefum, a full mouth, to indicate that the mouth of the tzaddik, the sage, is full of godliness, and that his utterances, without a doubt, are complete and full. Consequently, the tzaddik is able to draw down influx and bounty for the Jewish people, as is written, "He will bless you as He has spoken to you." It says in Devarim. Specifically, this verse teaches that influx of bounty is elicited in accordance with one's speech, for thought alone is insufficient. So even though the Holy One blessed knows a person's thoughts, a person must still pray with a full mouth, since speech is a vessel by which he receives influx and bounty. If a person's speech is complete and has fullness, then it is possible to receive great bounty with it. Therefore, it is necessary to pray for everything that a person lacks, both materially and spiritually, precisely by articulating one's request, so that in this way a person may draw down influx of bounty. So Yesod, this idea of Yesod, impurity, is connected to the idea of Yosef, and it's connected to the idea of being of a tzaddik. And the tzaddik, and through the aspect of Yesod, you're able to draw down influx, right, into Malchut, which is right the sphere below it. And so this happens through the mouth, through having a purity of the bris, and a person's then not able to have purity of the mouth, he's able to speak with righteousness. You're able to recognize a person who has purity through the words that come out of his mouth. And through his prayer, he's able to then bring down the influx. But the person has to have that tikkun bris, that sholem of purity, that completeness. Every single Jew possesses the quality of a tzaddik A sage rules, and a full mouth, as is written, your people are all tzaddikim. It says in Isaiah, for every Jew is something very precious and unique, a point which no one else has, as we find in the story of Abaye and Abba Umana in Tanis, where they are told Abaye, you are not able to replicate the deeds of Abba Umana. Now this quality or point, in which each person suppresses all others, sheds positive influence upon, illuminates, and awakens the hearts of other people, and other people need to receive arousal together with this particular aspect or point from him, as expressed in the phrase they receive from each other. Now it doesn't mention what story this is in Moharan. It might be referring to, there was a story of a person who was a doctor, and he was going and he was separating the males and the females when he was doing the blood work and these things. So you cannot imagine the simple idea of doing kindness and protecting purity for the world, for those around you, and having a shmira, having a wall, so the person has purity. You can't imagine how far this idea comes. So every Jew has that power within them, that power of Yesod, a foundation to have purity, and then therefore purity with the body and purity with the mouth, and therefore to go and bring down this influx from heaven. For prior to the giving of the Torah, rulership was in Hashem's hand, as in, I am the Hashem your Hashem, who brought you up from the land of Egypt. For then everything was I. But after the giving of the Torah, the reverse continues, open your mouth and I will fill it. This verse, Anochi Hashem Lakecha Malacha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. This verse refers to the full mouth, to the idea of Yosef as the ruler, because now Hashem gave rulership over the entire Jewish people and to each Jew according to who he is. Every Jew has a tremendous amount of power. There's people, they deny their Jewishness, their Judaism, but that power cannot be unbroken. That connection to God is there always, no matter what. Even if you deny it, it's there. And you can see that even Jews that are not so connected, you still see that the kindness of how they treat their mother, for instance. You can see that they're doing kibbud v'aim. There's a natural way a Jew looks at the world, and even if they can call themselves an atheist, they still have that holy spark inside them. You can see that, recognize that goodness in them, that they're really just calling out to know Hashem. They're calling out to in suffering because they're confused, but the spark is there, and you can recognize that spark. And by recognizing that spark, by looking at Jews with an aya tova, with a good eye, you bring out that spark that's stuck. The vowel malufim, okay, consists of a point together with the letter Vav, corresponding to the spheres of Chachma and Bina. For the point of this vowel corresponds to the Chachma, and the letter Yud, and to the wellspring. And the Vav corresponds to Bina, and to the stream which flows out from the wellspring, which is similar to the shape of the Vav. Now the conceptual relationship embodied by the Melafum applies both on the collective level and individual level. On the collective level, tzaddik is associated with the letter Yud, the point of Melufim. Since the tzaddikim are called the wise men of the congregation, the letter Yesod, the letter Yud also corresponds to Chacham, and the Jewish people correspond to the letter Vav, since they are supporters of Torah and are called the hooks, Vaveh, for the pillars. It says in Shemos, on the personal level of each individual Jew, we also find these same concepts embodied by Yud and Vav. Yud is associated with the mouth, as in, my mouth will speak wisdom, as it says in the Psalms. And Vav is associated with the heart, as in, and the meditations of my heart are understanding. The heart, in turn, corresponds to the tablets, upon which the Ten Commandments were written, which are a Vav, as the sages taught. The tablets were 6 handbreadths long by 6 handbreadths wide. It says in Baba Basra 14a, the tablets of your heart. It says in Proverbs, when the heart is sunken in negative loves and desires, is referred to as the fallen and shattered love. This is because the evil inclination and the impure forces exist as a result of the primordial shattering of the vessels. Mish viras kelim. It is further explained in the Eitz Chaim that the fragments of the vessels of Chesed fell into Bina in the world of Bria, and Bina is the heart. The light of from Chesed, on the other hand, remained in the sphere of Yesod in the world of Atzulos. And Yesod is identified with the Tzaddik, the sage, foundation of the world. Thus, these negative loves and desires all originate in the shattering of the vessels of Chesed. This is why Onkelos translates the word Cherfa, disgrace, as in the verse, a man who has a foreskin, because it would be a disgrace, Cherfa, for us, as Chesuda, because disgrace, that is the foreskin of the heart, which consists of these negative loves and desires, stems from the shattering of the vessels of Chesed. Furthermore, we see empirically that love covers up all wrongdoing. It says in Proverbs, even if a person wrongs his friend still does not disgrace him, since love covers up all wrongdoing. However, when the bond of love exists between these friends goes bad, which parallels to the shattering of the vessels of Chesed, then his friend disgraces him, because disgrace comes from the shattering of the vessels. This disgrace corresponds to the foreskin of the heart, from which is described in the verse, disgrace has shattered my heart. It says in the Psalms 69, also corresponding to the shattered tablets. The rectification for all this is to bind the heart, the Vav, to the Yud, namely to the point, which is the sage. The Tzaddik, for this light of the Chesed, remains in the sphere of Yesod, in the world of Atzulos, which is the aspect of the Tzaddik, foundation of the world. And is there that the holy love resides, the person must radiate the point into the Vav, into the heart, and then the negative loves and desires, the disgrace and shame are nullified, because love covers up all wrongdoing. Accordingly, each person must express himself a great deal to his Creator in order to radiate the point. The Yud, which is associated with my mouth, will speak wisdom, into the Vav, which is associated with, and the meditations of my heart are understanding. In this way, a person binds himself to the point that relates to his heart at that particular time, and he thereby shatters the disgrace which is resting upon the shattering and shattering his heart. Each person must also speak with a friend about fear of God, so that his heart receives inspiration from the point in which his friend surpasses him. For each person's point is an aspect of a tzaddik with regard to his friend, and this point radiates into his friend's heart, which is called Vav. All the points which each person has are extensions of the tzaddik, the sage. The sage is the encompassing point identified with Moshe, who is an encompassing point of all the Jewish souls as a collective. Therefore, each person must first receive from the sage, because above all else, the main thing is to be connected to the sages and to speak with them about the fear of Hashem, so that they will illuminate and awaken his heart with their holy encompassing point. Afterwards, it is also necessary to speak with one's friend about fear of Hashem, so that the two may receive from one another. Furthermore, each person must receive from within himself, from his own point, by expressing himself to his Creator in these three ways. The disgrace, that is, the negative loves and desires, the foreskin of the heart, is nullified. This is the meaning of the phrase, love covers up all wrongdoing, namely that the negative desires are nullified because holy love resides there in these points, and these points shine into this holy love into the person's heart. This holy love is referred to as a priest, since the priesthood was given to Avram who loves me, it says in the Darim. And it resides in the place of the covenant of peace. Therefore the Jewish people are called a kingdom of priests. When the priesthood was given to Pinchas, he was told, behold, I am giving him my covenant of peace. It says in Bamidbar. For the priesthood, which is associated with love and with Avraham, resides in the place of the covenant of peace, namely with the Tzaddik, the sage, the foundation of the world, because the light of Chesed remains in the sphere of Yesod, in the world of Atzulot. Sometimes a person receives from his friend's point by conversing with him about mundane matters. Then it is possible to receive light and arousal to serve Hashem from his friend's point by virtue of being covered. It is by way of the words in which the other's point is clothed. This concludes this lesson. So, to summarize, Hashem created the world, and He did this in order to go and share His glory. And He gave the sages the key to the world. So if you're suffering, if you want to be connected to God, you need to find the sage. You have to pray very hard to find the holy sages, the holy emesdich, the truthful sages of our generation. You have to pray and cry. It could take a very long time until you find the right sage for you. But you must not give up on this. That sage is connected to Yosef HaTzadik, to the idea of Yesod and foundation. Right? The foundation of the world is through him. Okay? And the idea of connecting to Yesod is through purity, sexual purity, making sure to watch oneself, that they're careful in this matter, and speech, holy speech. And every Jew possesses this idea of tzaddik. He should go and talk to his friends about fear of God and emunah, faith in God, and this is going to reflect upon him, reflect back on him. And so he has that aspect. Each person is holy, each Jew. And that is the basic summary. I appreciate everyone for coming. A bit of a shorter Torah here. Please share the post, and Bezras Hashem, daven for me to have koach. If there's koach, if my family is okay, I have no problem coming on live and spreading more Torah. It's usually it's not just on me. So please pray that we have strength to spread the Holy Torah together. Shalom, shalom. Wish you all a good day.